Alright everyone, buckle up, because today we're getting into one of the most explosive stories unfolding right now, the power struggle between America, China, and the Middle East. As the US-China trade war cools, for now, a new battlefront is opening, and this time, it's in the oil-rich deserts of Saudi Arabia. America is desperate, China is calculating, and Trump? He's back on the world stage shaking hands, making deals, and playing high-stakes poker with the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. Let's break down what's really happening, behind the handshakes, the headlines, and the hype. Remember when Biden visited Saudi Arabia? It was awkward, almost humiliating. Instead of a red carpet welcome, MBS gave him a cold, dismissive fist bump. And when the US threatened Riyadh, increase oil production or face the consequences, well, nothing ever happened. No consequences, just empty noise. But now, Trump is back in the region, trying to do what Biden couldn't, rebuild the alliance. And he's arrived with two massive demands. One, Saudi money, because the United States economy is starving for investment. Two, a strategic goal, kick China out of the Middle East. But here's the brutal reality, Trump's walking into a minefield. China isn't just flirting with the Saudis, they're in bed together economically. In 2024, even as global oil flows tightened, China was still buying 1.6 million barrels of oil per day from the kingdom. That's not just big, it's massive. In fact, oil makes up 80% of all Chinese imports from Saudi Arabia. And thanks to that, Saudi Arabia posted a $30 billion trade surplus with Beijing in 2023 alone. For Riyadh, China is more than a customer, it's their golden goose. And cutting off China, that's economic suicide. Still, Trump presses forward. His strategy, transactional diplomacy, the very playbook he invented. This time he wants more than symbolic handshakes. He's pitching a staggering idea, $600 billion in Saudi investment into the US. But wait, he didn't stop there. At a press event he smiled and added, Trump, VO. Let's round it up to $1 trillion, I think they'll do that, we've been very good to them. Let that sink in. Trump is trying to extract $1 trillion from a country already bleeding money. Why? To fund the AI arms race, to prop up US tech supremacy, and to keep the economic engine from seizing up. Back home, America's in trouble. Yields are climbing again, inflation fears are bubbling back to the surface, and the bond markets are screaming. The 10-year Treasury yield is nudging back toward 4.5%, echoing the panic levels we saw in April. The United States simply doesn't have the fiscal headroom anymore. It can't borrow much more without unleashing another inflationary storm. So what's left? Foreign money. Trump needs nations like Saudi Arabia to plug the holes, to keep the wheels of America's economy turning. But let's be honest, Saudi Arabia isn't a charity. Trump's proposed $600 billion, that's 60 times more than what the Saudis invested in 2023, and these aren't signed deals, they're vague commitments. Unless MBS orders the Sovereign Wealth Fund to step in, it's all talk. And Riyadh has problems of its own. Since late 2022, Saudi Arabia has run a consistent fiscal deficit. In the first quarter of this year, that shortfall ballooned to $15.7 billion. And that doesn't even include April's oil price crash. Things could get worse. So what's the likely scenario? Saudi Arabia will borrow more, but not for Trump. They need cash to fund Vision 2030, their massive plan to diversify away from oil. This includes mega resorts, economic zones, and smart cities. And at the center of it all is NEOM, the crown jewel of MBS's vision, a $1.5 trillion self-sustaining tech city in the desert. So ask yourself this, will the Saudis cut funding to their own dream, just to bankroll America's? Trump's secret weapon? Chips, not poker chips, AI chips. Right now the United States is ahead of China in advanced semiconductor tech, and Trump plans to leverage that dominance to win over the Middle East. Here's the headline. NVIDIA is teaming up with Saudi Arabia's AI startup, Humane, to build a 500-megawatt data center in the region. They'll supply 18,000 Blackwell chips, some of the most advanced on Earth. This is more than a business deal, it's a strategic play. It ties Saudi Arabia deeper into the US tech ecosystem and pushes China further out. But China won't sit idle. While the US leans on private sector deals and foreign investment, China is preparing for war, an economic one. Beijing already has a $140 billion war chest for semiconductor development. That's 4 times what the US has earmarked. Worse still for Washington? Trump wants to kill the CHIPS Act, calling it wasteful. Instead, he wants companies to invest directly, through market demand, not government handouts. 2 completely different strategies, and China? They've got the lower borrowing costs, the state control, and the urgency to outpace the United States. As of now, China's cost of capital is 2.5% lower than America's. That means they can borrow cheaply and scale fast. And they will. This is no longer just about trade deals or oil prices, this is economic warfare. Trump is trying to reshape America's foreign policy around AI supremacy and economic dominance. But doing so requires vast sums of money, global alliances, and careful timing. The Middle East, once the stage for energy wars, is now becoming a battleground for technological control. AI chips are the new oil. But here's the question that lingers. Will the Saudis really hand over $1 trillion to the United States? Or are they just playing both sides, America and China, to their own advantage? Because in this new world, alliances aren't built on loyalty. They're built on mutual exploitation. So what do you think? Is Trump's plan a brilliant economic move, or a desperate gamble with no guarantee of payoff? Will Saudi Arabia actually invest that much in America, or will China tighten its grip on the kingdom instead? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you found this breakdown valuable, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and stay tuned as we keep dissecting this rapidly shifting global chessboard. The future is being negotiated right now, and we're all watching it unfold. Stay sharp, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.